Welcome in, everyone. The Packers survive another game, this time against the Jags. And it may have been a loss without this Packers defense forcing a couple turnovers that put the Packers in prime position to score. But there's definitely still plenty of things that they can clean up. So let's take a look at the film, dive in, and figure out what they can improve. All right, starting with the first play, this is going to be cover one, and this is just going to be a good pass rush. So Packers didn't get to the QB a ton, but it's just a simple four-man rush, and this is a good rush by Gary. We'll watch it from the end zone angle as well, but nice power there. Just an arm tackle that misses, and even though he's not able to get the sack, he does get a 1-yard gain, and that was third down. So we show that double mug look, drop back and cover one. It's man everywhere, no receivers open, and you get pressure, and we're able to get a tackle before the first down. So a good stop there on the first drive. And then we've got what we talked about last week, putting Gary in different spots, and I just thought this play was a little bit funny. He's doing crossovers before the snap, and we do end up getting pressure, which forces an overthrow. Carl Brooks had a really solid game, and this is one of the moves. Swipes the hands away, gets inside, able to get a hit on the QB, forces an overthrow. So another third down stop. And of course, we've got Rashan Gary practicing his crossovers for off-season basketball, but messes up the stunt here, bumps into Kenny Clark, so not able to wrap around. I think he's a little bit too focused on those the pre-snap moves rather than focus on the movement after the snap. All right, next play is going to be the interception by McKinney. This is essentially just going to be a Tampa 2, right? So you're going to have your deep thirds, essentially. You're going to have the Tampa 2 that's a little bit shorter. You got McKinney out deep, Williams out deep, and you've got 5 across, 4 across underneath, essentially, with these hook zones on the fields, right? So I don't think Lawrence recognizes this. I think when he's reading this coverage, his eyes are on the opposite safety, and he's not reading where McKinney is going. So when he throws that over route, I think he might have identified that this was man based on the coverage, because Wilson does a good job here of walling off, right? And I think Lawrence is paying attention to that, thinking that this is man and that this over route is going to get there. So he doesn't pay attention to McKinney on the other side of the field. It's an overthrow. McKinney just in a perfect spot to intercept it. Here we've got another third down, and this is just the Packers defense doing a very good job of swarming to the ball. You've got McDuffie on a blitz, but they recognize this little bubble screen, the swing screen out to Bigsby. And you've got a number of players that are here ready to wrap up. Wilson does a very good job of shedding at point of contact here, right? Forcing this blocker back into the ball carrier, and it puts himself in position to make that tackle at the line of scrimmage, just, a yard shy of the line of scrimmage based on the spot from the ref. And that's a key third down stop again. So we can watch it from the end zone angle. Got that motion, which actually doesn't help the Jaguars, right? Because you've got that motion, which is bringing Wilson further into the play, and he's able to diagnose it, drop that shoulder, shed that block, and be in position to stop that. Next play, it does look like we're going to get a cover 4, a quarters type look here, and McKinney is just going to get too far turned up field right off the start here, and he puts himself in a bad position for that crosser route. They tried to hit on that earlier, right? Same route, it's just against a different coverage that we saw the interception on. McKinney does a good job of trying to break it up, nearly breaks up this pass. Sorry, I'm going forward and backwards a ton, but nearly gets in there. You can see his hand just off that ball, right? But I think, if he doesn't necessarily get so much depth right away, doesn't have his hips turned around, right? He's facing the wrong direction. If he's a little bit more square, while he's backpedaling, then he's going to be okay and he's going to break up this play. But of course, you never know what route they're going to be running, right? He easily, if he was just hanging down here rather than hips facing up this way, maybe there's an option for him to split those two deep safeties and they hit him on a deep post. But instead, goes underneath on this through route, able to make a nice catch and gets a big gain for the Jags. Here we've got a big play to Brian Thomas Jr., and this is a really well-designed screen with a misdirection. So you've got the motion, slides the backers, and then you're going to have this toss action, and you can just see how much attention and all the people planting their feet trying to get the opposite direction because they realize, oh, he's actually going to be rolling out here. All right. They see that motion a little bit too late, and you've got a screen that is wide open. You've already got one block here, right? That is just getting a hand on him, and he's going to move up to the next level because you have the kick out block that is going to be coming here, right? And then another blocker that is heading upfield, right? That's going to wall off the will essentially on this play. And that's supposed to create this angle for the receiver to come upfield, and he's only going to have one defender to beat. So that is the idea of this play here for the Jags. You can see that kick out is perfect. Right, the receiver does a good enough job here to slow down Bullard. Right, just by putting that hand on him, Bullard doesn't have that aggressive play to come down. So instead, he stalls just a little bit, right? If he fired down immediately without that receiver getting in the way, that could be a pick six. But instead, he delays, and he just gets cleared out by that tackle. All right, gets back in the play, tries to make a tackle. But Bullard, overall, did not have a very good game. Of course, he's playing a spot early on in this game in the slot, somewhere that he's probably not too familiar with, at least in this Packers defense, because he moved into that role just a few weeks ago. But definitely a lot of areas to grow in the slot. Here we've got a big run from Bigsby. Just focus on the right guard here. He's actually going to get a decent block on Wooden. He's going to get him pushed on that left side. And he's actually going to fall down, and it's going to create a traffic problem for the Packers. That's going to give a cutback lane to Bigsby. So 77 joins for a double team. That lineman falling down makes it impossible for Wooden to get his arms on the tackler. So he's going to break through, get down to that 2-yard line, and set up the Jags for a touchdown. And we'll watch it from this angle as well. Always looking at the trenches, these run plays. We want to see it from the end zone angle. You can see 68 falling down actually helps the Jags here and creates a cutback lane for number 4. So Bigsby, good job with his vision, and then a nice cutback here as well. All right, he's got essentially a two-way go with McKinney. Plants his foot, gets behind him, and if there's no trailing defender there, that's a touchdown. All right, if Cooper doesn't get his hand on his shoulder there to slow him down, that's probably a touchdown for the Jags. Next play, you're just going to have a read option. And this read option, you're going to have a lead blocker. All right, so he's reading this defender. All right, that is the key for Lawrence, and you can see that he steps inside, so he's going to keep it instead of giving it to the back. So he's going to pull out here, and having this sifter just ignore the edge and be a lead blocker is going to give the Jags just a perfect chance for a score here. And able to drive in there for a touchdown. Then we'll just watch it quick from the end zone angle as well, just so you can see how far Gary gets upfield. All right, he's crashing, he's spilling, and Lawrence knows just to keep it there, and he's off to the end zone. All right, next play, I'm going to focus on these two guys down here. We got Bullard on the inside, and we've got Stokes here on the outside, and I'm trying to figure out who is responsible for this. It looks like it's meant to be a cover 3, but we have two guys that go to the curl to flat. And it leaves this vertical route to Brian Thomas Jr. So this is definitely a busted coverage, and I'm assuming that it's meant to be Stokes. All right, so I don't think this is a rolled cover 3 where you've got, you know, the safety taking that third, and then you've got the corner taking the curl to flat. I think this is just a genuine mistake by Stokes, and it forces McKinney to come from, you know, high middle of the field to try to make a play, and he's not going to be able to get there. Peterson gets a timeout, and this leads to a Jaguars field goal. Next play, again, we're going to focus on Bullard. Talked about how he didn't have a great game. I don't really want to rag on him too much, but this is just a play that you need to make. All right, got a toss out there. He reads it perfectly. He's able to get there. He's able to fill that hole, but he misses the tackle. All right, and that missed tackle changes it from what would be a 2 or 3 yard gain to a first down. And in the NFL, you have to, you know, make these plays when you can square him up, put your shoulder on him, right? All he needs to do is get that other arm around or wrap him up, and he's not able to do it, and it leads to a Jags first. And another player that continues to impress is Edgerrin Cooper. Just a great pick here, and he's going to get in. This is a third down, and he's able to knife in and slow down Bigsby. We saw that, you know, the broken arm tackle on the previous play, but he's able to just knife in here, and he's not even driving his feet. He's got no momentum. He's just planted his legs, and he's stopping Bigsby from going anywhere. That is some pure strength. And this is obviously a third down. Forces them to go for it on fourth. And just a great job by Cooper. And then we've got that fourth down conversion. This was just Kenny Clark completely whiffing. I think he had his head down. He wasn't able to pay attention, and we'll focus on that here. All right, so Kenny Clark is there. He is unblocked. All right, and this should be an easy tackle for him. All right, he avoids that block, but because he's moved himself so far, all right, he's off balance. Eyes are down on the grass. He doesn't realize that the QB is coming. So instead of meeting him here, wrapping him up, right? Because if he's tackled there, that is not a first down. But he gets that second effort, able to jump over the top of him, and that is a first down. All right, just looking pre-snap here, you can see you've got 2 high safeties, but this safety is in line with the number 3. So, and you've got press coverage on the inside. You've got tight coverage here. Basically, eyes on this outside receiver. You're probably going to see some sort of pressure, right? And you're going to end up having Wilson that is going to pressure here off the edge. So that is going to put Bullard in man with the number 3. And he is just going to be put out of position here by the route from Kirk. All right, Kirk does a good job of keeping his hips, his eyes towards the right there, and sets Bullard up for that hard step to create that separation, and he is just wide open. And that again is something that will come with time. All right, being in the NFL, all these receivers, the talented receivers, are going to be setting you up. They know what your leverage is. They know what you're trying to defend, and they're going to set you up in order to create that separation. So Kirk does a good job getting open there, but we do get some pressure on the QB. You can see up in the top right, you get 2 people on the QB hit. So even though they get a big play, you're bruising the quarterback a little bit. All right, now the Packers are in the red zone, and you're going to get a quarters concept. So you're going to have 4 deep here with a couple underneath. And this is just going to be a simple post, and post routes work quite well as long as you have vertical routes on the other side, right? Because it's going to essentially isolate this one defender. And that's something that the Jags did very well, is once they realized where Bullard was in coverage, they attacked him. And again, you've got that simple, keep your shoulders square, that hard step with the shoulders and the hips facing outside, and then that step back, cross in the face, and you just have to catch the post. So Bullard, again, in coverage and in tackling, had a very, very poor game, and we'll see it from the end zone angle as well. Steps through a bullet, and that is just an easy touchdown for the Jags. Now, this one is just two great individual efforts on this play. I got a very nice blitz here up the middle, keeping that aggression all the way through, never giving up on the play. He's got a high motor, pushes through, beats the center, and able to get his hand on the ball. And then Wyatt there with a great push, a nice box out in order to get on that ball. So just great effort by Wyatt, great effort by Cooper here, and we'll watch it from the end zone angle just because it's a little bit easier to see. Got that bull rush, able to get through. Lawrence has to try to get out, puts the ball in his left hand, which is perfect because Cooper's coming around, trying to wrap up, and just punches the ball out, even though he's just trying to get around his waist. And then a nice box out by Wyatt there to recover the fumble. So huge turnover there, leads to a Packers touchdown, and that was kind of the key moment in this game. And we'll keep highlighting this good play from Cooper. This is a Tampa 2. We saw the Tampa 2 earlier, but he is starting out in the A gap. Right? He's on the line of scrimmage, and he's got to get deep in the middle third after feigning a blitz. I don't think people realize how difficult this is, but he's showing that pressure, and then he's got to get back to cover that middle receiver. And he's able to follow it with his hands and punch the ball out. I think the ground kind of helps here. Obviously, this is a play that Christian Kirk broke his collarbone. You can see he's grabbing it already. But the fact that Cooper is even this close to the receiver after feigning a blitz and having to cover that middle third in Tampa 2 is pretty impressive. Okay, now you've shown that look once. The Jags are going to know how to attack it this time. So instead of it going further over the middle of the field, here you've got no pressure. It's third down. You've got a Tampa 2 look again. And they just throw the seam. All right, so not able to get there this time, throws it back shoulder on the seam, gets a first down, moves the sticks, puts them in better position. And this is going to be the last play that I'll look at, but we'll obviously focus on Ingram here. And Nixon, who is in man coverage here. So it's kind of like a dirty bunch. You've got a tight formation, and this is just a great release by Ingram. Right? Sets up multiple steps here. 1, 2, 3 steps. Makes it seem like he's going to be cutting to the inside, and Nixon tries to overplay it. Sweeps his hand, not able to get a jam on him. And now he's going to have to play in trail. And this is just a jump ball. All right, Evan Ingram is a big target. And he's able to out-jump everyone on the Packers defense and score a pretty incredible touchdown. So Nixon, if he's able to do better here at the release points, all right, not jump so far in, he's going to be in a much better position to make this play. Even though there's probably not a chance that Nixon is going to be out jumping Ingram there and high pointing the ball for a pass breakup. But well run by Ingram there for a Jags touchdown. All right, so that'll do it for this video. The Packers defense, they were certainly missing Evan Williams in the secondary after he went out. It was a pretty noticeable difference, especially in coverage. And I'm sure this was not a fun week of meetings for Javon Bullard, but obviously he is a rookie. We need to give him some time. He will definitely continue to get better, and we continue to see this greatness from Edgerrin Cooper. That was a great pick. Thank you to the New York Jets for giving the Packers Edgerrin Cooper. And the Packers have a tough test this next week against the Detroit Lions in Green Bay, and I look forward to previewing that game in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. And if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.